I remember our friend, because we were the first of our friends, our gay friends, to be pregnant. And so when they started to get pregnant after, they were asking questions and all that stuff. And one of them was the non-birthing mom, just like me. And she's like, hey, how did you deal with the, I feel like I'm doing everything wrong. I'm like, oh, you are.
Yeah, you are. You're breathing.
You are.
If you're breathing, you're in the wrong.
I said, you got to do it. You kind of got to grit your teeth through those times that it's like that. And I found myself often being like,
what?
Because it's
she couldn't say it loud, because if she said it too loud.
Welcome back to the Less Say More podcast. I am Solange.
I'm Ava.
And if you haven't watched the previous episode with Jackie's wife, we are here doing part 2. This is why we're all in the same clothes, just FYI, of the previous episode talking about IVF and all that stuff. So here today with me is my really good friend who I've known forever and a day, Jackie.
hello.
Jackie.
Applause. Hey. So, Jax.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good, yeah. It was fun watching that episode with Amanda.
Yeah? Did you have a lot of thoughts going in the back of your mind, like, oh, I want to...
No, but it did bring back, like, flashbacks of certain... Because I have a very good ability to just block things out.
Well, I mean, after
step
she
by step.
explained
Blocking
how
it out.
she was, I would hope you knew how to block things out. Because that's scary.
Yeah, that was fun. So what she was talking about where, I don't know what word to use, but I use succumbing. So, like, I succumbed to learning patience. Because I was not very good at it in the beginning. But, yeah, through the hormone cycle, I was forced to grow a lot as a person, as a patient person, and become a very good... I think that's actually where I became a better partner, though. And she's not even paying attention. But where I became a better partner, because then you really have to control your own triggers or things that upset you and all that kind of stuff. And remember that there's someone carrying your guys' baby, and there's medications involved. And sometimes she had to remind me that she was on medication. Because I was like, what? Why? And then once I remembered, or she reminded me, I'd be like, okay.
So let's give a little context here. So you are currently the baby mama.
The baby mama.
The baby mama. I was trying to figure out what we were going to call you. And then I was like, no, she's the baby mama.
Yeah.
She's the baby mama of 2 babies, of which currently we saw Amanda is pregnant with baby number 2.
Yeah.
Which happens to be your actual embryo. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about your experience going through the process of being Amanda's partner through the first pregnancy, and then a little bit about your own process going through IVF and how you felt. Because it sounds like you had a very different experience than she did. Like you sneezed and had embryos.
You had a whole podcast episode on Amanda, and mine's took 30 seconds. So I'll tell you.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah.
Let's summarize this.
Okay, so the first round experience. So yeah, I mean, she did a really good job explaining. Because on the outside, I can only tell you how I felt and what I saw, But I did my very, very best to, I was at every single appointment except for one that was one of the ones that she had to have a shot that hurt, which made me feel bad. But just one appointment I missed. And doing all the research with her, it was very important to me because, especially in a same-sex female relationship, I could have been the one to carry, and I didn't want. That's just not how my body wants to be. I'm not very pain tolerant and all that stuff. So there is a huge sacrifice that she has taken on. And there has to be, a partnership in that. There has to, I can't just ride on the side while she goes through all the stuff. Anyways. So it was fun and exciting because I didn't have all of the feelings that she felt with things not working, the IUIs not working, all those things. I didn't have those internal feelings. So for me, it was mostly exciting, getting to pick the donor and looking through all that stuff and learning about everything. The doctor's appointment, I'm very interested in like how the process of stuff works. So I'm watching it and, and then there were the times where the transfer wouldn't work and then I would honestly just do my best to be supportive and remove my own feelings from things. I think one of the hardest things about it was keeping my own feelings in check and not letting them outweigh her needs or how she was feeling, because when you're going through something and there's something doesn't work, if there's sadness or hormones and there's a lot of high emotions, it took a few conversational tries for me to really get on the page of like, okay, I need to up my game of like how I'm responding to things, how I'm waiting and listening and I think I'm going way off topic of what your question was, but
no, it's okay. No, because it's honestly, I think what we want to know is like your experience as her partner, as a supporting person to somebody who's going through all of this. Like she talked about how, she was a raging bitch and how she would have all these hormonal issues like going on, right? Like her hormones are raging and she felt like she couldn't maybe be the partner she would normally be to you because she wasn't obviously fully herself at that moment in time. So how did that affect you as her partner?
So that I guess is where the growth came in, is not immediately getting defensive if she was acting not her normal self, reminding myself that this is not her normal self if there were arguments or stuff like that.
Did you name her other?
You know what? I might have. There were times. And
her other, what would you call her? Alter ego? No.
I don't even know. But I guarantee that I did. Just to separate it out in my brain that they were two different people. And I joke about it a lot, but the whole time wasn't like this. It's just, when a hormone hits or you do shots or something like this.
Yeah.
But I remember our friend, because we were the first of our friends, our gay friends to be pregnant. And so when they started to get pregnant after, they were asking questions and all that stuff. And one of them was the non-birthing mom, just like me. And she's like, hey, how did you deal with I feel like I'm doing everything wrong. I'm like, oh, you are.
Yeah, you are. You're breathing.
You are.
If you're breathing, you're in the wrong.
I said, you got to do it. You kind of got to grit your teeth through those times that it's like that. And I found myself often being like,
what?
Because
she couldn't say it loud because if she said it too loud and she heard,
right? But it's
then it's a different fight,
right? And it's so some of the reactions when people are flooded with hormones it's clearly out of character.
Yeah.
Like you can.
We know it just by PMSing too.
Yeah, but it's like it can be PMS.
Yeah.
But it is clearly so far from that person's like normal acting or character, how they treat, or their logic disappears in some ways because their brain's getting flooded with a bunch of stuff. So, I guess I'll just say it's a growth period unless you're already a fantastic person. I mean, I have my flaws. I have my selfishness and my defensiveness and like all these things. So it kind of just shines a light on the things within me too that I need to work through to be a better partner. And then actually it's a good step to then pre-parent.
Yeah.
Because the kid's going to be all of those things right off the bat because they don't know, their brain's not developed. So yeah, I mean, I did better the second time, second pregnancy than I did the first pregnancy.
Well, is there going to be a third?
No.
No.
She's
done.
No, she's done?
Not me. Amanda's done.
Oh, Amanda's done.
Yeah,
I was like, she's done getting beat up. Yeah.
Well, I haven't gotten beat up the second time. Because we both, I mean,
because
really,
it's your embryo.
Not even that. It's the first time of the experience is what's so jarring for both people.
Okay.
Like the hormones, the anxiety of becoming a new parent, the fear of what's going to happen, all the tests, all the appointments, all the stuff. Work is, you're off work, your income's lowered. It's everything all balled up.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And the second time, sure, that still happens, but you have a better handle on it. It's happened before. And
like, what to expect.
Yeah. And like she... And therapy.
Therapy.
And
Shout out to your therapist.
Yeah.
Had
Yeah.
Shout
couples-
out to your
yeah,
therapist.
Your wife emphasized therapy a lot.
And it did. And I mean, we were good before, but we had our normal couple fights and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But we did get into couples therapy pretty soon after she got pregnant, maybe even a little bit before, just as a not a precursor, but preemptive
Yeah.
way, you
Yeah.
know, so that we could form lines of communication so that when one of us did get upset or tired or frustrated, because your life changes,
Right.
you know, and
Overnight.
yeah, and it's, well, especially when the baby comes, but
Yeah.
even before that,
Oh,
you
yeah, 'cause
know,
you're
it's just
going
the
through-
minor changes. But open lines of communication so that you can kind of set aside an hour a week and you can talk about stuff, and then you don't, you know, carry
Right.
on with it and stuff. So I think that helped a lot too.
Did you know that you always wanted to be a parent, or like, did you always want to be a mom, or was that something?
Yeah, I did. I always wanted kids, but I'm an only child, and I don't really have a lot of cousins that I grew up with. So I don't have a lot of experience with kids. I don't know how to talk before. You know, you talk to a 8-year-old and they stare at you, I'd feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Just, like not knowing what to do.
I remember this because
Yeah.
for those that don't know, Jackie and I used to work together at the Dirty Bird. I called it the Dirty Bird at Red Robin when we were like 20 or
21.
21 or something. I don't know. But every time we had kids at the table, this one would come around the corner and be like, fucking little rugrat. And I was always like, oh, Jackie's not having kids. Jackie's not having kids. And now she's the one with kids and I'm the one that's like, nope, no thank you.
Yeah, it's because I didn't know how to deal or
Yeah.
talk to kids. But when it's, and it doesn't even have to be your own, but when you're around a child enough, you know, and you're kind of forced to learn how to interact with them. And
Yeah.
so I always wanted to. I didn't know how to. I knew that I didn't want to carry. I think some people, just like some people grow up and they're like, I can't wait to have children and be pregnant. That wasn't for me. If I needed to, I would. So, you know, the first pregnancy, she had preeclampsia. If there were any complications that would make her either not want to carry or couldn't,
Or in
but we
danger.
wanted to,
Yeah.
then I would have. But I didn't have to.
Nice.
So
Nice.
if you decided that you wanted to have a third, would you carry for that third?
So Amanda would make me carry, if we wanted a third. But I think through having one, I've realized I'm not the type of person that can have 3.
She's good with the 2.
Yeah. So I
Well,
think
she
I
hasn't
could
even
do
had the
2.
second one yet.
She's fine.
So first we wanted 3. We had the first one. And I was like, no, we're not having.
We're done at one.
We're not having
Done.
3. And Amanda's like, we could do twins because I want to be pregnant only twice. And I'm like, I'm not having twins. I don't want 3. I think I would be a bad parent. You know, I could do 1. I'll learn to do 2, and then we're just stop.
What's the hardest thing about parenting for you?
It's the same thing as it was, I guess, with like the whole process of going through the pregnancy. Is the hardest thing about parenting for me is keeping my reactions in check and how I should be talking to Rowan, or you know, the kindness and the patience and all these things that I'm really, you know, I think I'm doing really good at and trying to do, but it's not an innate response for me.
It doesn't come naturally.
Right. And so it's really hard to I don't know.
Rewire yourself to do that.
Yeah, and keep myself in check so I'm not pushing any of my, you know, stuff onto this little tiny baby because she's 2 and doesn't want to brush her teeth, and I, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, and then you have to just kind of like calm yourself down, and you know, and so that's been really a growth for me.
Do you find yourself arguing with her and then realize that she's only 2?
Yes. So we actually have a funny story. She's a smart 2-year-old. So she's been, since she climbed out of her crib and then just face planted out, she's never gone back in her crib. So we had to switch her back to a bed, right? Or a toddler bed. And it's been tricky. So we did that in October, and she would not stay in the bed. She would just come back out. So we'd stay in her room with her, but then it was like 2 hours. We were in the room. We're like, we can't, you know, it's been 2 months of this. We can't do it anymore. I'm exhausted. We can't do anything.
And
the
you
dishes
both do
are.
it.
Yeah, one would do it until you couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then switch.
Oh my God.
And we're like, we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
you look up all the stuff about it. Some people are like, lock the door. Some people are like, don't lock the door. That's child abuse. Some people are like, just stay in there but sit in the chair in the dark. And I'm like, so
You're just there. Like,
Don't look at the baby.
don't make eye contact.
I see Jackie in the corner, facing the corner like she's on timeout.
They do. They're like, don't speak, just stay there. And I'm like, that's weird. So we did a compromise where we put, a baby gate in her doorway. So we go and we put her to bed and we say, we'll come back in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, if she doesn't fall asleep. But she would still come and run to the gate and just like, Mama, Mommy. And so Amanda had given her a shower, an hour before. And I'm downstairs and I'm trying to get her to stay in the bed. And she comes out and she's crying for Mommy, but I want Amanda to be able to sleep. So I'm like, Mommy's in the shower. Mama will be up there in 10 minutes. Mommy's in the shower. And Amanda hears her talking to herself at the gate. And she's like, Mommy's in the shower. Mommy's shower with me. Mommy not in the shower. And I'm like standing down there. Yeah.
Working through it
together.
Yeah. And she yells down, Mommy not shower. And I and I start laughing. And I go back. I'm like, that's not the point. You need to get in bed.
Mom's not coming, okay?
The point is your ass needs to get
go
into bed.
You go to bed. And I was like, what?
Damn.
You're 2. You were just on a bottle, I feel like, yesterday.
That's going to be tough for you.
So she's quick. She's quick.
Oh,
yeah.
You got to be quick.
Yeah. So those are the tough. It's like pre-planning how I have to be ahead of this kid.
Yeah.
It's like the quick-witted comebacks, the logical answers, the answers to why, all that stuff.
That's what I would think. Like,
But why?
Yeah, but why?
But why?
I would always say why.
Oh my God.
My mom's favorite answer was because I said so.
Yeah. You can get away with that sometimes.
Yeah,
not all the time.
once in a while.
Yeah, not all the time. Not all the time. How did you manage bonding with a child that you didn't birth?
So that's a good question.
That's a really good question.
I did think about that. We talked about it. I mean, it's strange. You grow up in a heterosexual society, all the books are mom and dad. Everybody says mom and dad, all these kind of things. So you first have to figure out what you're going to be called,
What
the
does she call
different
you?
names. So she calls me Mama and she calls her Mommy.
Okay.
And that's worked out really well. So she knows exactly who we are. If someone messes up our names, even I will mess up our names once in a while. She'll be like, no, that's Mommy.
Okay.
So that works really well. The bonding with her is, I don't bond to anything right away.
Yes, we know this.
Despite DNA. Even with this, we had a conversation today and Amanda said something. Amanda said something about the baby number 2.
All right.
She's
Here you go.
It's full of blood, you said full of blood.
She threw up. There you go.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Like with Amanda, she said this, we were talking about this second baby and she said something about how do you feel? Do you think you'll love this one blah, 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 more than Rowan or something?
Who said this?
Amanda. We're talking about feelings.
I thought you were
and
still in therapy.
I'm like, honestly, I didn't even like Rowan until she was 4 months, 5. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know this next baby yet. I have to get to know the baby. It's kind of, and I feel like I would feel like that the same way if I was the birthing parent until the pregnant, because I don't have the pregnancy hormones that kick in and all that stuff, right? So even that's one huge thing is as the non-birthing parent, you don't get that extra hormonal kick. So a lot of people feel guilty if you aren't immediately like, I'm in love with, and don't get me wrong, I loved the baby and like the protectiveness was there, the like coddling, the taking care of, anything she needed, I was there, but I didn't feel like
that immediate attachment.
Yes. And it did start to grow. And I think part of that too was just the experience of it being the first time, and then all the other anxieties and fears and worries and stuff, just everything together. And then the next part that made it a little tricky for me, that took me a bit to get past, was because we know which egg is whose, right? And so, when you have family or grandparents, anybody wants to see themselves in their offspring, right?
Yeah.
And I have wonderful family, wonderful in-laws. But in the beginning, when I'm already feeling a little insecure, I'm not the birthing parent, you don't know your place, you don't know what your name's going to be, you don't know what you're doing, if you're doing it right. And then you just constantly get these, she looks like Amanda.
Yeah.
She has these traits of Amanda. Just you're erased,
Right.
sort of, And so then that throws in another kind of hit to like where your spot is.
Yeah.
And that's more of just kind of a personal insecurity, something that went away fairly quickly.
Okay.
Because that's when she was little, right?
Yeah.
Like newborn stuff. She doesn't have personality. As she started to grow, she loved me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
That's the favorite friend. And you get to kind of and talk to them and play with them. And even when they're, 6 months and some months, stuff like that. So once the anxieties of not knowing what I was doing, the fears that she was going to be kidnapped while I was putting her in the car at the grocery store, all that stuff. Once that kind of died down, I could breathe a little bit and enjoy it. And then that's when the bonding came in. So when I could kind of tackle all that other stuff. And then from there, it's just been like sailing, because it does baby 1, baby 2, embryo 1, mine, hers. It doesn't. I really don't even see anything. It will, and I don't fault the people in the beginning first, because it is kind of cool to be able to see traits pass on, like something in you. But at the same time, I can see so many traits in Rowan's personality that I've instilled just by being nurture, like the nurture versus nature. And Amanda points it out all the time, So she has Amanda's cleft chin and her grandma's blue eyes, but she has like my kind of stubbornness and my don't tell me what to do and my, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's once you
her learned behavior.
Yes.
From
mimicry.
You.
Yeah. So
That's cool to see though too. Like when you see them do something that you do, it's kind of rewarding in a sense, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's me right there.
That's my kid.
That's my kid.
What would she do a lot? She doesn't do anything super cool yet because she's still little, but she would do, I sigh a lot. I do a heavy sigh a lot.
Yeah.
And so she was like a year-old baby, year and a half, just walking around going,
Yeah, I could see that.
Life is so tough.
Life is so tough.
That's when she wants the Diet Coke and cigarettes.
So, this is nicotine.
Life.
No cigarettes. I stopped those a while ago, but the nicotine is strong.
The nicotine.
The nicotine
Do you
is still
chew the
there.
gum?
I wish I could. No, but I'm a vapor.
No, she's not allowed. She's not allowed to.
Vapor.
I need the streamlined.
Got it.
Okay, so we have a couple more questions because we're gonna wrap this up. This is gonna be a short episode because they got to get home to their baby. So, how do you keep the romance alive? How do you do it while you're going through the process of IVF, but also how do you do it thereafter having a baby?
This would have been a much better question for Amanda.
But I want your
she's
perspective.
very good at that. But so for me, you just take different forms of intimacy. During, because you could still have sex during pregnancy, but aside from that, the pregnancy, the baby, you're tired, there's new responsibilities, so you have to find pockets of it. So whether it be stealing 25 minutes during a lunch break to sit and talk or play a card game or, hold hands at dinner or cook together. So it's just kind of stealing moments where there are none. And then planning like one big thing every once in a while. Like we did the first time Amanda's parents watched the baby, we did a whole weekend in Santa Barbara that was just us.
Oh, nice.
So like no baby, just us. And you can't do that all the time because it's expensive and there's school and all these things. But just that. So like kind of expanding the idea of intimacy to be all kinds of different things. We would love the idea of like a date night every Tuesday or something, or, maybe shifting it to day dates, I think is what we're thinking about. So it's just kind of that.
I think that's when people start planning things, right? Put it in
Put
the
it in calendar.
Yeah. But it comes to
Sexy Saturdays.
Yeah. It's easier when you remember
Wild Wednesdays.
Wild Wednesdays. Wet Wednesdays.
We're talking about babies here.
I'm just saying.
You want to talk about that stuff. Goodness.
Just saying. I'm talking about keeping
Moaning
the spark
Mondays.
alive. Oh, see? He's talking
you
shit
started
now.
it.
Go ahead, Jackie. Continue.
Sorry, Jackie.
oh my gosh.
Day dates.
Day dates.
But I think it starts with keeping the lines of communication, remembering that you're both doing your best, because it does get overwhelming. And it can be really easy to fall into a, not a blame game, but I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not doing like that kind of stuff. So making sure that you don't fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Is first and foremost, because if you fall into that, then you're never even going to get to
Yeah.
step 2 with the dates and
Yeah.
wanting to do that because you're angry. Reminding each other that you're doing your best, and let's go celebrate
You are
that,
doing
you know?
your best. I get those Christmas cards. They are the cutest thing in the world. Makes me want to have a baby just looking at the little picture of this cute little family.
Everything's making you want to have a baby.
Yeah.
Well,
And if these sounded scary, these conversations, because we were just telling you the nitty gritties, all this stuff,
Yeah.
but it is a wonderful experience. All the stuff that we went through, I would do it again in a second.
Oh, that's good
and
to know.
Amanda would too. And having Rowan is one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's, you fall asleep and she wants to hold your hand.
Oh,
And
that's a
it's like-
rewarding moment.
Yeah,
right?
and it's
Yeah.
like the day you forgot anything bad that ever
Yeah.
happened. You know,
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah.
just
I
my
love
love
that.
That's
you. Bye,
cute.
mama.
I love it.
So it's
so we're going to play a little game with you.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to round out the episode by playing this little game. We call it Boo or Snooze. This is Celebrity Edition. So this is, you tell us whether you are going to boo her
okay.
or you're going to snooze her.
Okay.
Okay? Ava's going to read them to you.
Sydney Sweeney.
Snooze.
Snooze?
Like her shows though. Like her
All right.
movies. Yeah.
Natalie Portman.
Boo.
Boo. Adriana Lima.
We hear the sighs in the background. I don't know. We might have to play this with Amanda off camera.
Yeah, you could do a good one with Amanda. Adriana Lima circa 2004 when I was in high school for sure.
All right.
Boo.
Boo.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure now too. What am I talking about? But
Anne Hathaway.
oh, I love her so much. I don't know if I'd boo her, but I want to be her friend.
You'd be so you
Yeah.
snooze her. Mila Kunis.
Boo.
Boo?
Love her.
All right.
Yeah.
Love her.
You kind of remind me of Mila Kunis
That's
a little.
great.
I think that's why she boos her. She's going to boo
I love
herself.
her.
Megan Fox.
No.
Nah?
Not my type. Snooze.
Shakira.
No, but I love Shakira too.
Ariana Grande.
Oh, she's cute. She's little. She's
She's
too little for
little.
me.
Kind of gives me pedophile vibes. No.
She's too little for me.
Eva Mendes.
Oh, she might be too spicy for me, but I think I would boo her.
All right,
I
the
like her a
last
lot.
one. This could stir up some controversy.
Uh-oh.
Blake Lively.
Boo. I love Blake Lively. I love Blake Lively. I'll say
She's
it
like,
straight
I
to
don't
the
care
camera.
what anyone thinks. I don't care if she's getting sued. I don't care if she's a mean girl.
I
I'm
love
booing
Blake
that
Lively.
mean girl.
I'm booing her up.
Booing her. All right.
All right. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this episode up. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Later, boos.
See ya, booze.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Let's Say More podcast. If you can please show your love and support by writing a review on Apple Podcasts, rating us on Spotify, and of course, spreading the word and sharing us with your community, we would greatly appreciate it. The Let's Say More podcast is produced by yours truly, Solange Aurelio, and Ava Mozafari, and edited by myself as well, Solange Aurelio.